Hey everybody, welcome back to our state history foods. Today I have a special helper with me again, Mrs. Maggie. We are moving to the state of Ohio, which is west of West Virginia, and it's the Buckeye tree that they're famous for. So today we're going to make a sweet treat called Buckeyes. The first thing you need is chocolate, peanut butter, confectioner sugar or powdered sugar, toothpicks, and butter. Okay, so what I've done right here is created what's called a double boiler, and that's going to help us to melt the chocolate. Inside the pan you'll see there's water. You don't want the water to be too full because you want it to boil and come up and melt the chocolate. So I'm going to lay that right there. I'm going to turn on our heat. There we go. All right, we want that to come to a boil so that it melts the chocolate. I'm going to go ahead and put the chocolate in there so that it starts to melt.
Can I put it in?
Yep. We need about a cup of chocolate chips, because that's what we're going to dip our Buckeyes in. Buckeyes are actually the nut that comes from the tree of the Buckeye tree, and they look kind of like an acorn. At the top they have a little bit of a different color, so we're going to make something that looks just like a Buckeye, but this is a sweet treat that you can eat. All right, to make the peanut butter filling, I have 3/4 of a stick of butter already melted. That goes in our bowl. Now I need about a cup and a quarter of peanut butter, which I'm kind of going to eyeball. So I have crunchy peanut butter, and it's natural crunchy. You don't have to use that. You can use smooth peanut butter. You don't have to use natural peanut butter. The reason I like crunchy peanut butter is because it gives the Buckeyes a little bit of texture when you eat them, but you definitely don't have to get crunchy peanut butter. If you don't like it, don't use it. So I'm going to put about a cup and a fourth in there, and I'm just going to eyeball it just because I've done it before. Super sticky. All right, set that aside. And then we need about a cup of powdered sugar. And what the powdered sugar does is it dries out the peanut butter, okay? Because if you just were to roll up a ball of peanut butter, it's not going to stay together very well. So this makes it sweet, plus it's going to dry it out and help us to roll it up in the balls. So I'm going to stir this up.
Looks like the chocolate chips are starting to melt.
Yep, chocolate chips will start to melt a little bit.
I've never had a Buckeye, but I'm really excited.
So when you're using peanut butter, normally, not just with Buckeyes, but normally when you use peanut butter, there's a couple different kinds that you can choose from to be healthy. The main thing about peanut butter is you want the first ingredient on the peanut butter to say peanuts. Sometimes if you buy peanut butter, the first ingredient might be sugar, okay? And that's not good because there's more sugar in it than peanuts, which makes it extremely unhealthy. All right, I'm going to use a little bit more confectioner sugar because that's a little bit looser texture than I want. You see how it kind of smooths out and spreadable? So I'm going to give this some more powdered sugar to continue drying it out. All right, let me stir that up. There we go. That looks a little drier. We'll be able to roll those up easier.
Dad, Pixie's eating the food in the bowl.
All right.
Oh, that smells good.
And you can see it's starting to get so dry that the powdered sugar is hard to incorporate. That's kind of what you want, okay? So then what we're going to do is, it's kind of like a bread dough that we use. Just kind of fold it over and get the rest of that powdered sugar into the wetness of the peanut butter so that we can roll this into balls. It'll kind of be like Play-Doh, which is fun to use your hands with. Okay, so then I have a plate, and we're just going to roll these into little balls. So Maggie, you watch me. You can take a little handful about like that, and you're just going to roll it up into a ball. Okay, put it right down on your plate, and we're going to make enough to fill up the plate. So here you go. Yeah, roll your sleeves up.
It like literally shit to get.
Okay. Take a good handful there. There you go. Now just squeeze that and roll it up into a ball.
Oh, it feels like
Kind of like Play-Doh, huh?
creamy. Feels creamy. Oh, that feels weird.
All right, you
That,
keep
Daddy?
working on. Yep, that's perfect right there. Just set them down on the plate.
Dude,
Let me wash my hands.
I've had a Buckeye before. Oh, hi, Cookie. I think at Mammy's house.
The other thing you can do with Buckeyes is add a little bit of salt to it. I didn't do that, but you can, because the powdered sugar and the peanut butter makes it extremely sweet. And if you're someone that doesn't like the sweet taste, you can use a little bit of salt and it'll even out the flavor a little bit. About a half teaspoon, okay? Let's check our chocolate here. You can see how it starts to melt at the bottom, okay? We're just gonna continue to let that go. You don't really wanna touch it a lot because it'll cool the chocolate down and then it'll give it a texture you don't want. So I'm gonna let that cook for about another 30 seconds and melt, and then we'll put those in the, or then we'll put our peanut butter balls in it. Now when we're done with these peanut butter balls, you actually want to put them in the freezer for a good half an hour or even an hour, because there's no way you can dip these in the chocolate right now, they'll fall apart. You want them to firm up so that we can stick a toothpick in them and dip them in the chocolate. So we're going to put these in the freezer. Maggie, can you make me 2 more there?
Yep.
And we'll get those out in about an hour. I have some pre-made that we're going to use to dip in the chocolate now. All right, that chocolate's starting to look good.
Let me see.
Yep.
Peanut butter. Hands will get messy.
The other thing you can do with your chocolate is add a little bit of butter to it. It creates more of like a ganache. Perfect. Those look great. All right. We're going to stick these in the freezer. Get out our ones that we've already made.
Well, you already.
And you can see how they're nice and cold and firmed up a little bit. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a toothpick. I bought longer toothpicks because they're good to use for anything. I'm going to take one of these and I'm going to dip them down in the chocolate as soon as it's ready.
Might not help.
Yeah, just a minute. All right, you can see that chocolate is basically melted. If you just give it a stir, the rest of it will kind of melt into what's already been melted because there's heat underneath of it.
Oh my gosh, that's melted.
Okay, and the chocolate's not actually touching the water. It's just the heat from the water comes up and melts the chocolate. That gives it a nice silky balance.
That's cool, actually.
Yeah. All right, our chocolate's ready to dip. All right, here we go. I'm going to take a toothpick, stick it down in. I'm going to come over here to my chocolate, swirl it around, everything except the very top. Okay? And you can see, if you look online, what a Buckeye looks like. That's what a Buckeye looks like. Okay, you can actually kind of fold over the hole there a little bit. Okay, and that's what a Buckeye is going to look like. You want to try one?
I need a stool or something.
Here, let's use this one. Push it down in there good. All right, now you're going to roll it around in there without getting the top. Oh, that looks good. Keep turning it to the side a little bit to get almost all of it.
Huh? Toothpick.
You don't
No.
great. Oh, that's all right. Here.
I can't see it.
That's
so
okay.
It's a little hard.
Whoop.
That's hard.
The toothpick comes out of the chocolate. It's kind of hard to get it out. There we go. All right.
Those look good.
We'll do one more.
Wait, what about the rest? Careful, Dad. It might fall out again.
All right. Set that down on our plate. Fold over the hole a little bit. And they don't have to be perfect. Once you're done with these, stick them back in the freezer because you want the chocolate to firm up so that these are edible. Right now, these would be kind of a gooey mess. But those will firm up the chocolate and it'll be perfect at the end. I would say leave them in the freezer about half an hour for the peanut butter, and then once you dip in the chocolate, put them back in. They're super easy. They just take a little bit of time because of how long it takes to do the freezing parts. Okay, those are Buckeyes. I can't wait to eat one. It's going to take a little while to get one, but next time We're going to go all the way down south to a state that has tons of citrus fruit. So look that up. If you find that state, think of a dessert that we're going to use with one of those citrus fruits. Okay, those are the hints I'm going to give you. Nothing else. All right, we'll see you next time.